Welcome to Behind the Bower, where we share inspiring conversations, take a fresh look at the arts in our community, and spotlight the artists, performers, and creative partners who help make it all happen. We're here to celebrate the universal human experience through arts, culture, and community. I'm your host today, Lauren Hood, Program Manager for Bower Center for the Arts. This morning, we're spending some time getting to know one of our local legends, a familiar and beloved voice in our arts community who has a concert coming up right here at Bower. Rather than diving into the technical side of art making, this conversation is really about the person behind the music, her story, and the path that's brought her to this moment. She's a singer, songwriter, performer, and storyteller who's been part of the Bower family for years, and we're so excited to sit down with her today. Happy to welcome Patty Daughtry to our podcast this morning. Good morning, Patty.
Good morning, Lauren. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Let's just dive right into these questions. So I want to start at the beginning. When did music first become like your thing? Was there a moment where you realized that this wasn't just something you liked, but something like you needed?
Wow. Music is my air. It's like the best way I can describe it. I don't remember a time ever not having it, and I don't imagine a time where I would live without it. I was brought up in a musical family. My dad sang, and so music was always around. My grandfather played piano, and I think middle school band probably saved my life, and playing through high school. And it's just always, I started playing piano when I was 4, and my parents got me a guitar in high school, and it's just always been a part of me. I played flute all through high school. I didn't even know I could sing until I was probably 18 or 19 and moved to Virginia and sang for the first time. But I've always loved music. It's a huge part of my soul.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you were first you said that your family was, a lot of your family members played music. You grew up around music. What was the kind of music they were sharing with you?
My dad was actually in a barbershop quartet.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, I know. And they used to practice at the house. So I remember those harmonies, and the guys in the quartet were all my uncles. They weren't for real uncles, but they grew up with that persona.
Yeah.
And my dad was in the Pine Barrens chorus back in New Jersey. So he sang, and we got to go to some of his shows, and just loved it. My favorite thing with my grandfather is he would sit at the piano, and he would only play with one hand because he had to keep his beer and his cigar in the other. So he would let me sit on the piano bench and play along with him.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
That's awesome. I love that. Do you remember the first time that you actually played in front of people?
I guess it would be high school, singing in the chorus. Was the very first time, but when I moved to Virginia, started a duo, and I guess probably early 20s, really started performing some, but it's evolved. It's always evolved. It's evolving still.
Yeah.
I think that the Bower Center may be the last time to have this group in this formation, and just starting to move in a different direction again, and just working out logistics and being able to play music full time. So it's nice.
Yeah, that's amazing. You've been a part of Bower Center for the Arts community for quite a while now. Can you share how you first got connected with Bower and about how long you've probably been involved?
I've been involved a long time. And my guess, I was trying to think about this, it was when did I first start coming to the Bower? It's one of those things where we've been besties for so long. I can't imagine life without the Bower.
Yeah.
My guess is that my mom is an artist, a local artist, and she probably had a show there, and that's how I first got connected. And then I believe I did a CD release when we first released our CD, and we've done 3 of those. So it's been probably early, goodness, at least 2005, if not earlier than that. I don't know, how long have you been around?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, so right around
Sarah.
Just a few,
Sarah was there.
So a few years after opening, right from the beginning, that's amazing. That's always fun. I always like to hear stories about people that have kind of been lifelong participants, attendees, whatever, just involved with the Bauer Center, known about it since its opening or just after its opening. Because they always have like really good insight about like how it's grown and evolved and to what it's become today. And it's always fun, just like, it'll become a generational thing. You know what I mean? So
Well, and it's evolved too, right? I mean, I've been involved in your summer camps. I've worked with the children there, done songwriting. We've gone over to the Wharton Garden and done performances over there, written with the children. And the Bauer Center's been a big part of my life. It always feels like I'm coming home when we get to do a show there. It's a homecoming.
Yeah, that's great to hear. How has Bauer played a role in your growth as a performer or an artist?
It is the audience there. It's always more like a family reunion when we come in than it is a concert. We're not the kind of band that stays backstage until we're announced and then we magically appear on stage. Half of the time we have to round each other up out of the audience to get started on time because we're all talking. And then a lot of times I'll have the audience just stand up and meet each other before the show ever starts, because I keep looking around and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's here, and oh, he's here, and oh my gosh, I haven't seen them in 20 years. And then I want them all to know each other. And so when they do introduce, I've heard a lot of cool stories about that meet and greet in the very beginning.
That's so fun. It's really cool to get to see the audience. Last time we had you over, the Patty Daughtry Quartet, it was a sold out crowd, and not only was it a sold out crowd, but we had to keep bringing in chairs and just like had people stand on the walls. Like it was just so slam packed, but we were so excited for it. And it was just all of these people out from they all knew you personally somehow, like over almost 200 people, like knew Patty, like knew Patty, or knew somebody on her band. And it was so cool. And she also had a lot of students, which we'll get into kind of your background in musical education a little bit. But it's just such a fun experience. And that's, we expect it to come up in the next few weeks. That's the exact same experience. It's just the entire community coming out and enjoying one of our local legends.
I think that last show too, it was so much fun. I was, greeting people, and all of a sudden I saw some friends from Florida.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you were in town. They're like, well, we came in town for the show.
Wow.
And I was like, I've never had anybody come quite that far for a show. And it was just delightful to see them.
Yeah, that's amazing. You often talk about your music as storytelling, which makes a lot of sense, like knowing your background in theater. So how does that background show up when you're writing or performing?
It's interesting that I don't think of myself as having a background in theater. I've never acted. Yeah. I've never really been on stage other than to perform music. But I have directed children on stage. And so I think that's why a lot of people think I'm involved in theater.
Right.
A lot of times my students, I taught at James River Day School for 20 some years. And we would often take a show, a pre-written show, and then talk about the creativity of it and the process and the development of characters. And it was like, well, if you could change the story, how would you change it? And what characters would you develop? And we would go into rewriting an entire production. I'm not sure that that's legal, but that's what we did, and it was fun. And so the kids would dream up new storylines, but they had to invent the character. They had to create the dialogue. We had, and this is with third, fourth, and middle schoolers. So it was an amazing process, and I've never ceased to be amazed at the creative mind of a child when given the opportunity to just create. Yeah. So that's my theater. Yeah. But we've had a lot of success with it. It's been fun.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my projects that's on my bucket list. Is I wrote a show for middle school that I want to produce.
Yeah.
I think it would actually...
that'd be so fun.
The twists in it would actually be hilarious with adults, because it could be read separate, interpreted certain different ways. But that's a bucket list.
Absolutely. Does that experience, like with you kind of rewriting those shows with your students, or kind of that very free creativity flow, does that kind of impact how you perform on stage now?
Yeah, I always like to be aware of the creative process and just be in that moment, and just meet people where they are, and just kind of go with that flow. I think one of the beauties of the Bauer Center is it's a listening room. We're not background music, so it's a very different experience than other places I might play.
Yeah.
And I lean toward doing only concerts where we're listened to, because we're trying to share music and we're trying to share stories, and not just be background music.
Right.
It's much more personal.
Diving into this creativity, when you sit down to write, what usually kicks things off for you? Is it like a line or a feeling or a melody, or maybe something that's happened in your life? What is like that starting point?
When I sit down to write, I go blank. When I do it intentionally, like I've even tried to get into this routine now that I've retired from teaching, of getting up in the morning and like just go journal, go write for a little while.
Yeah.
And the songs that I write are so personal and so meaningful to me in the moment. I won't say that they're meaningful to everybody, but they've been sparked by something that has either deeply affected me or inspired me.
Yeah.
I guess the latest song that I've written was for Ukraine. And I don't know, I was watching the newscast and watching the people of Ukraine, and it was around Christmas time. It was the beginning of the war, and they hoisted up a huge Christmas tree from a crane. And then the people of Kiev found a bike and hooked it to a generator, and they all took turns pedaling to keep Christmas lights on a tree decorated with kids' toys. And I was just so touched by their spirit. And then I read an article where a man said, we didn't have the Christmas spirit. We didn't feel it at all. We did it for the children.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, for the children. And that song kind of wrote itself right after that experience. So when I sit down to write, I have lots of ideas that I want to write about and lots of song snippets. A lot of times things will come when I'm driving in the car. Not good for the distracted driver laws now. But if I can pull over and use my voice memo and just record the idea while it's there, because they sure don't stay. Yeah. And, you think, oh, I won't forget that, and next stoplight, it's gone. So I do have a library of snippets that I'm really looking forward to getting into sometime soon.
Yeah. That'll be fun. Absolutely. Do you, I usually ask this and it's always intrigued by the different answers. Do you have a favorite song that you've written?
I guess if I had
song that you've written, and then a favorite song that your favorite song to perform, if they're different.
Wow. I think Wait on the Moon was so personal for me that if I could only have written one song, I would hope that it would be that one. Songs just inspire in different emotions at different times. So it's for a lot of my writing career, I would write when something was bothering me, because it's very easy to just go about your life and be happy and just have a joyful life. Yep. And when there's that sorrow or when there's that pain, that's a little harder to share in public. And so that's when I would tend to go to a piano or go to a guitar and a few candles and come up with something different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad you talked a little bit about that, is that different of emotions, because your songs are very honest and they're very personal. But how do you decide what parts of your life to make into a song and what stays like just for you? Because I feel like you want to be as vulnerable as you can, because like in music we can, well, in different every kind of form of art, but in music we can, you want to share these experiences because you know that maybe other people are going through them and you want them to know that they're not alone, and like it's kind of that shared emotion. But there are some things that like I would love to share this, but I mean this is just something like for me or from my family that we're dealing with, you know, like so how do you decide what stays with you and then what you share?
Whew, I think one of the biggest guidelines is I never want to hurt anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a share story that's going to hurt someone, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did that in my earlier career.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had some divorce medley stuff going on, and I did not mind sharing on a microphone. And
Yeah.
if I had to do that all over, I wouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was very helpful for anyone, even though people were going through those experiences,
Right.
and people would come up and go, "Oh, you're talking to me, girl," and it's like, sorry,
Yeah.
but I don't want music to ever hurt. I want it to inspire and just make us better people. Just make us think a little bit more, especially in these times right now. I don't want my music to be divisive. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want. I look in my audience and I know the political leanings or the
Right.
religious leanings or the opinions of so many of our fans, and I know they're very, very different,
Mm-hmm.
and they would probably on certain days not choose to be in the same room with each other,
Right.
and yet we all leave hugging and you
Yeah.
know just loving each other, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the way it can be, and that's the way it is at the shows, and I really think that's the way the world could be, but don't need to get quite so philosophical here.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Because it is that unifying experience. But yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Do you have any stories of people coming up kind of after your show and seeing like that song like meant for me? Like any stories that kind of stick out in your head?
There are, I think the song that I mentioned earlier, Wait on the Moon,
Mm-hmm.
is very personal to me, but it's about looking up at the moon at night
Mm-hmm.
and connecting to that person who's not there
Mm-hmm.
in the moment. And so people don't need to know my reason for writing it or my longing. And actually, one of my cousins was stationed overseas, and he said that song just really got him through. That every night he would look up at the moon and he would listen to that song and just really
Yeah.
feel connected back home. I've had people tell me that a CD in their car got them through a rainstorm and home,
Yeah.
home in a blizzard and all sorts of stuff. I love that the songs touch people, but I mean, we all have those experiences, right? We all have that longing for someone who's no longer here or away, or we have a lot of shared joys and a lot of shared pain. And I love when somebody can connect to the song. I think the last time we were at the Bower and some of my students got up to perform the Ukraine song with me, people came up in tears after that set and were sharing stories of Ukraine. And there was a couple there from Ukraine. I had no idea. And so, yeah, there's a certain spiritual element to writing that I feel very strongly. And so sometimes I don't even feel like the writer. I feel more like the vessel where
Yeah.
it's coming through, and it's just my job not to say no to it, to give it a voice. And if it's meant to be completed, it gets completed. And if not, it's just out there for now. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Like you had talked about, you have such a strong connection with audiences when you perform. What is your favorite part about playing live, and what does a good crowd feel like to you?
Ooh, I love when a crowd, you can just see it in their eyes. I just love it. Come on through, train. There's just something about an audience that is there because they love what you're doing. They we feel the love. I mean, we look out in the audience and we feel the love, and even if somebody's there for the first time, they come up, they feel the love, and it's like, it's just it's an experience. It's not just music. My drummer's wife, Angie, came up once before, well, actually several times now, and just kind of brings it back to my heart. She's like, your shows are not just music. Like, I hope you get that. I hope you really get that in your heart, that they're not just songs, and it's an experience, and it's I don't know, that's church for me. I love performing to an audience that wants to be there and is attentive and in it.
Yeah.
We feed off them a lot. Absolutely.
What is like the difference between playing with your quartet and then playing solo gigs?
I've actually been doing a lot of solo work lately, but it's been different. I'm kind of like my toes are tipping into the water right now. I've been playing at Fleming Mountain Grill in Lynchburg on first and third Thursdays from time to time, and it's interesting. I got a lot of feedback from fans on, "Oh, you're too good to be doing that," and you shouldn't be background music. You're better than background music. But I don't think they get that it's a different kind of service. It's a totally different gig.
Yeah.
When I play solo and I'm not interacting with an audience, it's really hard. I feel like I'm in musical timeout sometimes. But it's also very humbling, and I get to just piddle around on the piano. People are dining and they're talking, and I get to be the background for that. I get to kind of whitewash the background and let them enjoy each other. And it has nothing to do with me. It's me and the music kind of hanging out by the fireplace and just playing. And lately my bass player, Robin Tolley's been showing up. And so the two of us have just been playing.
Yeah.
And it's nice. And it's actually even harder, even with just one other person, because you have to communicate what you're going to do. Or if I'm just sitting there playing piano, I might start on one song and it might me think of another song, and next thing I know, I'm drifting into that. And when you have a full band, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But you can solo, and you can, even with Robin, I can drift with Robin and he can follow me. And so we just kind of drift together, and it's beautiful. This last Thursday we were playing, and then a woman at the end of the night came up and she said, "Our church is having a function. I really want you to come play for our church." And I was like, "Okay, great." And I said, "Get in touch with me and let me know when." She said, "No, it's Friday."
I know.
Okay, so we're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's different. There's an energy to the full band that, especially after playing together for 30 some years, we just read each other. We don't have to communicate very much at all, but we do rehearse, and I don't know. There's a beauty to all of it, and I'm exploring that. And I think the next thing I really want to explore is finding another guitarist. That is the one part of my music that I'm missing. I can play a little bit guitar, enough rhythm to hold my own, but I don't solo, and I'm missing harmonies. At one point when I had Main Street Rhythm and Blues, it was a full band and 3-part harmonies and a horn section, and there's the part of me missing some of those elements that I want to explore next.
Yeah, that would be fun. You're holding like open auditions for anything?
No, because then you have to like tell people no, and I hate doing that. So I'm doing some behind the scenes scouting
so fun.
And thinking, and we'll make a few calls soon to some folks that I think would be interesting to try, and then just kind of hang out and see. It has to it has to connect. It can't just be, oh, there are a lot of really great guitar players out there.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't always connect into where the music is right now.
Right. Absolutely. Is there a performance that like really sticks with you? Just kind of one of those nights that you are always thinking about? And then what would you say made it so memorable?
That's a good question. All of the, like, they're like, what's your favorite kid? But the night that I just kind of lived through time and time again is back in 2005. We were asked to back up Rita Coolidge and with the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah.
And I was in a space where I didn't want to be a backup singer anymore. I wanted to be doing my own music. We had just released Wait on the Moon, our second CD, and I really wanted, I wanted to be showcasing my own stuff. And so the director of the symphony, we had coffee, and I said, is there a way for us to showcase just a song or two from our CD? And then we got into the logistics, like, what do you do when the stage is set for 100 musicians, and yet the band had to find a spot in there to back her up for her show. And then he finally said, you have 100 musicians sitting behind you. Why don't you use them?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I've never even thought about playing with a symphony. How cool would that be? And then it was like divine intervention. One thing after another, just doors opened. And an arranger, the famous Charles Colello out of Florida, he was one of the original Four Seasons. And I mean, he just arranged for John Denver and so many names. He ended up taking on my charts almost like a charity case. And it was just magical. And then the expenses that were incurred were all covered by fans.
Wow.
We had a group of fans buy a block of 100 tickets at $35 a piece and give them to people in exchange for them just sending us a donation to help underwrite the scores. And it came out, I won't say to the penny, but holy moly, it came out really, really close to where I had no expenses on that show. And the magic of being able to perform 3 of our songs, I wore a long gown and everything, heels and the whole deal. And then Rita Coolidge invited me to come out at the end of the night and sing Amazing Grace with her.
Wow.
And it was just magical. I've never, I love those moments when you get out of the way and, the universe just kind of provides everything you didn't even know you wanted. You know, it's like, that's kind of where I'm at right now. The way I'm living my life is just stay out of the way. Just see what comes next and honor it.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's an amazing story. I remember you had talked about that at your last show, and that's kind of always stuck in my mind, like just the way everything lined up. It was so perfect, so perfect and so magical. Like you said, like that's amazing. When I want to talk a little bit about, go back to when you're writing. So when you're writing something really personal, how do you think about making it relatable for other people, or do you not think about that at all? Are you like, this is relating to me and I hope it relates to somebody? Or is it like you writing about a universal experience? Can you talk a little bit?
I've heard in a lot of songwriting retreats and from a lot of songwriting friends, it has to be honest. It has to be personal. Even if it's an imaginary personal, like you have some story in your head, but it has to come from some space. And then I think like there's always time for the creator and there's always time for the editor, but they can never be in the same room at the same time. So when you're creating, you just got to create. You got to be raw. You got to put it out there. And then in the editing, that's where you can say, oh, okay, maybe this is too personal or this is not appropriate or this is too much. But I think you have to write from that raw space first and then edit it. And there's always something universal.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm feeling like I'm in love with my husband, that's great. But other people know what it's like to love, whether they're loving, if I'm one of the greatest challenges is to get kids to sing from like that kind of space. They don't know what it's like to love a partner.
Yeah.
But they know what it's like to love a kitten.
Yeah.
So you start talking about kittens and they get that warm fuzzy feeling, and all of a sudden you're getting that out of them vocally.
Yeah.
So we all relate universally. But I don't go into, I'm going to write a love song or I'm going to write this kind of song. It's I write from an experience most of the time. Sometimes I write from a dream.
Yeah.
And then edit it to be more universal.
Yeah. That's awesome. I have one more question for us before we wrap up, because I do want to get to Patty's going to play us a song on the air. I'm super excited. So I want to make sure we have time for that. But before we wrap up, what is next for you? Do you have any new music projects, performances that you're excited about that you want to share?
I have boxes and boxes and boxes of ideas. And actually, we just created a space in the house. It's called the Awesome Room, where I can go and write. It has a little fireplace, a little electric fireplace, and a reclining chair and a table, and I can just go up there. My greatest songwriting partner in that room is my big whiteboard.
Yeah.
Because it's just so forgiving. You can put anything on the whiteboard and then rearrange it however you want, and then do away with it if you want. I do have projects. I have, and they're projects that I'm not sure are valid enough to finish. Like, I've written so many children's songs.
Yeah.
Should I do a children's CD and a children's songbook? My daughter's an illustrator. Should I get her to illustrate between the art and my mom and my daughter? I would have that taken care of. But is that what I want to, think a lot about legacy? And then the more I age, the less I think about legacy. It's like, nobody's going to remember you when you're gone. It's like, and I don't mean that in a bummy, sad way, but it's like, just get real. Do what you do now. Enjoy it now. Don't worry about any of the other stuff. And so the projects that I have, I would like to write more. I feel like when I retired, it was just, we had gigs. It was going to be the celebration of, kind of saying goodbye to the band, right? We were doing our thank you show.
Yeah.
And then we got so daggone many gigs out of it. We kept it together for another year. And now we're into year 2 going, wow, okay, it really wasn't feasible.
Yeah.
And what are we doing? And I do want new music. But we've been in kind of fireman survival mode of just learning new material and doing new stuff. But I'm ready to get away from the covers and do more personal stuff.
Yeah. That's amazing. We can't wait to hear it. I know that we're excited.
I can't wait for you to be there. I have gotten smarter as I go along. I've kept set lists so that I know what we played last time, and I'm not doing those again this time. So if you do come out, it'll be some new stuff. Not a lot of original new stuff, but some new covers and some new stuff that speaks to us right now.
That'll be awesome. Before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you so much, Patty, for spending part of your morning with us and just sharing your story, music, and a glimpse into your creative journey. We are so grateful for the ways you continue to be part of the Bauer community. And if you'd like to experience Patty live, she'll be performing here at Bauer Center for the Arts on February 28th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. And tickets are available online at bowercenter.org, but don't wait too long because they are selling out, and we would love to see you there. Thank you for listening to Behind the Bauer. Until next time, Patty, take us away.
Thank you, Lauren. Always a joy. Come on out, people. We'll see you at the Bauer. Weatherman says it's raining again. Perfect night for staying in. Looking at you, I don't doubt it's true. Did I hear you say, baby, put on a smile, kick off your shoes and stay a while? Since you want me to, I don't mind if I do. That whole clock can just tick off the wall. I ain't worried about time at all, long as I'm spending time with you and holding you tight in light. Opera radio, I whisper, baby, I love you so. Since you want me to, don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do.